Welcome everybody to the Wake Up Call channel. The more technology is advancing, at least out in the open, the more insane ideas these psychopaths are going to try to normalize. And this is one that they're throwing out there. Now, this is obviously not something that's going to happen anytime in the near future, but we know how this whole thing works. Once they start talking about concepts like this, just like when we all heard about the movie Minority Report and the concepts in that movie about pre-crime. What have we seen 20 plus years later? We're literally seeing pre-crime out in the open where they're trying to implement red flag laws to remove civilians' right to bear arms and protect themselves based on things they look at on the internet saying that they could potentially be a dangerous threat. Thus, pre-crime laws. And at the time, when that movie came out, everybody said it was nuts. So something like this is not out of the realm of possibility. In fact, what they're calling the prison of the future, where AI rewires your brain, is something we've seen before in movies, just like I was talking about Minority Report. Does Clockwork Orange ring a bell? That's what this horror story is. An AI-based prison concept would complete sentences for prisoners in just minutes. AI-generated memories would force inmates to experience their crime. The experience would feel like years for subjects, minutes in real time, and creators believe the method would also speed up rehabilitation process, right? Might as well give them what they're trying to do anyway, which is a straight-up lobotomy, which is really what we're living among, humans who have literally gotten lobotomies, because the MK Ultra that's being done on them is so extreme. They're living in an alternate world. Well, why not just legalize it? And then instead of overcrowded prisons, which is what they're talking about, then every single thing we all do could be a crime, and they could just rush us into one of these rehab centers where they continue to, or begin to, rewire your brain and lock you up in a pod and then start doing Clockwork Orange-like tactics to your mind. Here is the concept. I'm going to show you the video clip. This is literally something that has been uploaded that somebody is putting out there for the world to see. And of course, big tech companies and big tech media outlets are covering this story because they think it's a wonderful idea. This is crimes against humanity. And of course, we hear all the stuff they tell us about prisoners in today's world, and prisoners complain, prisoners who get fed off of our tax money, who commit hideous crimes, who are second offenders, who really 100 years ago wouldn't even have the chance to commit a second crime because it would have been handled the correct way, which is really to just rid the world of people who continually commit crimes and have no interest whatsoever in changing, because sometimes, like they say, a tiger can't change stripes. But anyway, this is what they're throwing out there. Take a look at this absolute nightmare that could become a reality.
Welcome to Cognify, a facility designed to treat criminals like patients. Instead of spending years in an actual prison cell, prisoners could finish their sentence here in just a few minutes. Cognify could someday create and implant artificial memories directly into the prisoner's brain. These complex, vivid, and lifelike memories are created in real time using AI-generated content. Depending on the seriousness of the subject's crime and their sentence, the memories could be tailored to the rehabilitation needs of each subject. The artificial memories implanted by Cognify would be seamlessly incorporated into the existing neural networks of the brain, preventing cognitive dissonance and ensuring the subject experiences the memories as if they were real. The Cognify concept offers a new approach to criminal rehabilitation, transforming how society deals with offenders by focusing on rehabilitation rather than punishment. First, the prisoner is given a choice, either spending tens of years in a prison cell or seeking fast-track rehabilitation through artificial memory implantation. If the prisoner chooses to undergo fast-track rehabilitation, the Cognify device is used. Next, the prisoner undergoes high-resolution brain scanning to create a detailed map of their neural pathways. This brain map helps guide the Cognify device to target specific brain regions responsible for memory, reasoning, and logical thinking, such as the hippocampus, prefrontal cortex, amygdala, parietal lobe, and anterior cingulate cortex. Once the target brain regions are identified, Cognify is then placed around the head of the prisoner. The intensity and the type of artificial memories is then adjusted depending on the crime. Inside the criminal's mind, time would pass differently, slower than in real life, making them experience years' worth of artificial memories in just a few minutes. Synthetic memories are customized depending on the crime committed and the unique brain structure and psychological profile of the individual. Violent offenders could experience memories that are designed to trigger empathy and remorse, seeing their crime from the perspective of their victim, feeling their pain and suffering firsthand. Some memories are designed to trigger consequences and trauma. Such memories could simulate the long-term consequences of violent actions, such as the grief of the victim's family or the physical and emotional trauma endured by the victim. Artificial memories could cover a wide range of crimes, including domestic violence, hate crimes and discrimination, embezzlement, insider trading, theft and fraud. Cognify Emotion Regulation System could modulate neurotransmitters and hormones to induce specific emotional states, such as remorse or regret, which is crucial for rehabilitation. Real-time monitoring and feedback mechanisms could track the prisoner's neural responses throughout the process, allowing the system to adapt and optimize the rehabilitation in real time with new visuals, sensation, and realistic AI-generated content. To ensure the long-term effect of the therapy session, the memories could become permanent, fully integrated into the subject's mind, as if they were part of their own personal experiences. While subjects are undergoing therapy session, valuable data are collected from all the prisoners into a central computer for scientific research, which will help understand the criminal mind and determine the best approach to tackle crimes in society. AI-driven analytics could enhance the device's functionality, optimizing future procedures based on gathered data and insights. Cognify could feature encrypted storage for sensitive prisoner information and rehabilitation data. A compact and portable design would allow Cognify to be used anywhere in the world. It would be constructed with durable materials to withstand frequent use. Its energy-efficient design would ensure long operational life, reducing the need for frequent recharges. It would have the ability to integrate seamlessly with other prison systems, like security cameras and biometric identification. Once the therapy session is concluded, family members of the subject could be provided with a comprehensive report on the new artificial memories that have been implanted, offering them a chance to adjust to the subject's new, positive personality traits. The subject is then released back into society to start a new life away from crimes. The Cognify concept could revolutionize the criminal justice system by significantly reducing the need for long-term incarceration and its associated costs. Traditional prisons require substantial budgets for construction, maintenance, staffing, and prisoner care, including food, healthcare, and rehabilitation programs. By replacing extended prison sentences with brief, intensive rehabilitation through artificial memory implantation, the costs of maintaining prison facilities and supporting inmates could be drastically lowered. The funds saved from reduced incarceration and recidivism rates could be reallocated to other critical areas. These might include education, healthcare, infrastructure development, social welfare programs, or research and development initiatives that benefit society as a whole. By rehabilitating offenders more quickly, Cognify could enable them to reintegrate into society sooner and contribute to the workforce. This increased productivity could boost the economy and generate tax revenue, further offsetting the initial investment in such technology. Successful rehabilitation through Cognify could lead to safer communities, reduced crime rates, and improved social well-being. This could have far-reaching positive impacts on individuals, families, and society as a whole, contributing to a more stable and prosperous future. Apart from treating criminals, Cognify could also be used to treat severe memory loss by helping patients recall their past memories. It could also treat patients with PTSD by implanting positive memories that replace the negative ones.
So again, you see something like that that's out of like Total Recall or Clockwork Orange, and yeah, naturally your first response is gonna be, well, that'll never happen. But again, everybody has been saying that for so many years about so many different things, right? Even think about what we're talking about with men playing women's sports. When people saw the movie Ladybugs back in the early 90s with Rodney Dangerfield, it was a comical concept of a boy dressing up and playing on a woman's soccer team. It was a movie people went to go see to laugh at. Now, in today's world, it's actually happening. And if you don't agree with it, you're a hateful person who should be thrown in jail, right? Now we actually have a government that's removed the right to free speech. If you question things like putting something in your body that you don't want to put in your body, you're a horrible bigot. But of course, if you question the execution of a child in the womb, you're also a crazy person, right? So nothing is normal anymore. And for us to think that this would be out of the realm of possibility, of course, it's not true, because what this really would do would give the government the ability to rehabilitate people's minds, to put them under full-on psychosis. That's what this would do. So they'll tell you all this stuff about how, oh, there's overcrowded prisons and things like this would help with, prisons can't keep this many people in there anymore. I mean, that's the narrative that's out there. Let me read some of the stuff that's out there from big tech companies and big tech media outlets who are talking about this. According to the Prison Policy Institute, the U.S. has a higher incarceration rate per 100,000 people in its population than any other NATO country. And it's even higher than the next 5 member states combined: the UK, Portugal, Canada, France, and Belgium. So what's the solution? Well, a molecular biologist and science communicator from Yemen claims he's got in an interview with Wired, build a virtual prison instead. He's not talking about stapling a bunch of MetaQuest 3s to prisoners' heads for years at a time, but is also not far off from that concept. The proposal is a new neurological prison system that he calls Cognify. He posted the proposal video, which you saw clips from, of the virtual justice system on his Instagram and YouTube channel, and it looks downright horrifying. Yeah, it does. Here's how Cognify works in a theoretical nutshell. Instead of locking prisoners up for long periods of time, prisoners would be subjected to artificial memories in a virtual environment. The system creates customized AI-generated content that's converted to visual information and delivered to a prisoner's brain, as well as parts of their DNA and RNA linked to memory formation to establish a long-term memory pattern. And again, these types of things are already underway, but I mean, they're pretty much just telling you what the future will look like once they start telling you have to stay indoors because of the climate and because of viruses that are out there, that you need to stay locked up inside, but you can put on your virtual glasses and you can go into your virtual realm, and then they'll just perform all the MK Ultra on you that way, right? So currently, such technology does not exist, and that means that it pretty much does exist. It's just they're not going to roll this type of stuff out until they know you're ready for it. So it says Cognify is a proposal. However, the experiments conducted on animals prove this process could work on humans at some point in the future. For instance, a study published in March in the scientific journal Nature in March that used mice as a test subject found that memories are possibly formed by broken and repaired strands of DNA. Of course, there are ethical implications and effects that would need to be addressed if such a system were to become a reality. And this stuff is a reality. They have the ability to do this stuff. And I love when they talk about the ethical implications, just like when I showed you that video recently with Eminem, talking about cloning, and how Bill Clinton came out and talked about ethical implications. These people talk about ethics. You're hearing about morals and ethics from people who are completely immoral and demonic, talking about ethics, right? So yeah, we could trust you. We trust big tech. We don't know who they are, right? With this type of stuff in their hands, sure. And we certainly could trust big government, right? We could trust Big Brother with this type of tech. He would never betray us. So it says if that doesn't send a shiver up your spine, then check your wrist for a pulse. Horror anthology fans remember an episode from the 1990s reboot of The Outer Limit on Showtime called The Sentence, in which a scientist played by David Hyde Pierce invents this very similar virtual prison system that simulates an entire life sentence within a matter of minutes. He, of course, subjects himself to his own invention that makes him believe he committed a murder and served an entire lifetime in prison. And again, we've heard this in a lot of different films, like movies like Total Recall, Lawnmower Man, Clockwork Orange. They're referencing The Outer Limits. Okay, they have the ability to do this stuff. They are not going to release this type of thing until people clamor for it. So they continue to create all the problems and tell us that there's no solution, and they make things worse and worse and worse until they know that you could accept this type of technology, and they get you started with accepting this type of technology by starting to talk about it. So yeah, everybody's going to hear this and say it's ridiculous, right? People like me I'm not gonna knock on my neighbor's door and say, hey, they're gonna do this to people tomorrow. And then they'll be like, oh wow, my neighbor's really crazy. But that's how they get people on board with this crap. They just tell you about it, condition you with it, tell you about the ability, and then you see the world around you getting worse and worse and worse while they're talking about this, not telling you that they're the ones making the world worse and worse and worse. They're the ones who are paying criminals to commit crimes and letting prisoners out of jail left and right to commit crimes, knowing that this will happen as they bring in artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence governance so we can live in a surveillance state. And then at the same time, the rehabilitation thing, right? They constantly talk about rehabilitation. How do we rehabilitate these people? Well, hand them a Bible. That'd probably be the only way you could rehabilitate them. But they'll tell you that we have to give them a second chance and a third chance, right? Well, this will be the solution. Technology, folks. It's all in technology. You could trust in technology. Trust the science. Trust the tech, the things you can't question. So it's an absolute horror show. That's what you see. That's what you're shown. An absolute horror show that they want you to look at in the future as a solution. And trust me, 20 years from now, when stuff like this gets rolled out and they do trial experiments and people are already taking the Neuralink, people will be on board. They'll be like, yeah, that's great. Plus we don't have room to imprison all of our society, right? Because remember, everybody in society who doesn't go along with this new world order is going to be a criminal and a prisoner, right? So we'll just force this on them. We'll come to their home and we'll stick it on their head and everybody will agree and we'll move along really pretty much into a virtual hell. So I saw this, it's all over the place right now. People are talking about this. Tons of articles out there about it. The AI prison of the future, right? Where you could literally just go into a pod like in the Matrix and have some, oculars glued onto your head or some, 3D glasses glued onto your head where they could literally put you through a form of trauma-based mind control and quote-unquote rehabilitate you. Pretty incredible that we're even at a time period where things like this are discussed. And of course, again, people out there are going to think when they automatically do it, they hear you talking about, somebody would share this video and be like, this guy's saying that this is going to happen tomorrow. What a clown. He's insane. And then when it happens in 20 years, they won't look back and say that I was saying that this was going to occur and it actually occurred, just like with the outbreak and everything else, because they become so desensitized. They think it's actually a good thing and it's for their betterment and for humanity's betterment. And that's how this whole process works. These sheeple don't have a clue how the process works because they go along with the process. And thus where we are now, where we're having parents castrate their own kids, right? Insanity. I thank you for being here. Hope you're all well. God bless you and your families as always.